I like quantity over quality. like you could bring porcelain plates to a picnic, or you could bring a bunch of paper plates and bring like 250. So sometimes quantity over quality. It is day 60 of the suffering. It just happened to fall on July 4th. I am 2 months into this on July 4th. Tonight we are training shoulders. Why? Because that seemed like the best thing to train tonight. We did our legs yesterday. If you haven't watched the video, you should go watch it. It was pretty intense. So I'm feeling a little beat up in my lower region area. So I was like, man, am I gonna be able to train my arms tonight the way I want to? Because I use a lot of hips when I train, right? If my legs are sore, how can I train my arms, right? Because, I mean, how are you supposed to like, if your lower back and your legs are sore? I can't properly train my arms with a sore lower body. So I was like, let me wait till Friday to train my arms, so that way I'm fully recovered. I can actually put some effort into my arms. This is our top set right here. I did some sets for some reps leading up to these, and I'm gonna go ahead and bang this stuff, guys. Whew, man, I love training like this. Bro Science 101. And all you science guys out there be like, that's real science. A slow, controlled negative with a deep stretch at the bottom with a hold. This is elongating and lengthening the muscle. No, it's still bro science, because it's still a bro that figured it out. It's still a bro that said, hey, what happens if I train the muscle like this? And they're the ones that figured it out. And it doesn't work for everybody. This style of training doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody can get results off of this style of training. Some can, some can't. It's different for everybody. It is absolutely different for everybody. There's no one program that is going to get you to where you want to be. It all changes, individual to individual, even routine to routine. You might do one routine and be successful, and then try to do it again, and then don't get any results. Whew, that came down quick. So now we are going to do a rest pause. I'm gonna give it 8 breaths and go again. I just really like rest pause, man. That's like my niche, man. I really enjoy it. How many sets or how many reps? I don't know. For how much weight? Enough. I just warm up to a weight that's comfortable, and then I just start my top set for however many reps I get. It's completely irrelevant. If the muscle is capable, it will do it. All right, we're gonna rest again for another 8 seconds. Breaths, I mean. Let's get these freaking little shoulders to grow. Woo, that's tough. All right, now I'm gonna finish this off. And just cut down to the 20s. Cut that in half. I'm just gonna burn it up. I'm gonna burn it up. Whoo, man. your sets should be difficult. If you only do one top set out of X amount of warm-ups, that one top set should be really, really hard. And if it's not really, really hard, it's not challenging, then you need to ask yourself, am I not willing to challenge myself because I don't want to hurt that bad, or is it because it's not fun to me? If this set is something that I don't want to do, and I don't want to push myself on it because X reason, maybe you need to find a reason to be able to push yourself really hard on that top set. Change out your lift or your style or whatever you're doing to something you really, truly enjoy doing that encourages you to be like, okay, I'm gonna challenge myself. Let's do as many reps as possible. Or let's see if I can do a 5-second negative on each single rep. Or let's see if I can do however many partials. Or let me see how many times I can drop the sets. Or how many rest pause I can do. Find some way to challenge yourself to make you push yourself harder than what you think you're absolutely capable. Because wherever you think your threshold of pain is, I promise you, it's further than what you think you're going. Oh, stop 1 to 3 reps shy of failure. Why? Why? That's not fun. That's not fun at all. You can always train harder. You can always figure out a way to train harder. Like, I can't use heavy weights like I used to, but that's no excuse. That's no excuse. Like, oh, if you can't train with heavy weights, you can't train hard. Or, oh, if you're using too much weight, then you're not gonna have perfect form. What I say about the perfect form with heavier weights, if you're doing bent over barbell rows and you're like, I'm trying to flex and stretch it, right? To get a good, if you're a heavy weight, you're going to engage 100% of your lat muscle. Like, I don't care if you feel it or not. If you do not feel it because you're heaving heavy loads, your back is working. There is no way around it. It is 100% working. If you're doing heavy T-bar rows and you don't feel it in your back, I promise you, you are still working your back incredibly hard. And if you can't use heavy weights, then you have to use lighter weights with squeezes and pauses and stretches and holds and volume, right? That's fine too. You're still going to use your back. Whatever you're trying to target, just make sure you're targeting it as hard as you could possibly target it, right? You don't have to go heavy, but you don't have to go light. And you don't have to be on any kind of routine. So here's the funny thing about these laterals. I'm going to tell you all this real quick. So the way I'm going to do these laterals is I'm going to bring them here in front of me with a slight forward lean, and I'm going to come like this, right? Because that's the way my dad used to do them, right? And I love the way that feels better than this. Well, I was in the gym and I was the guy doing them, right? And he was using the 35s. And he came down and clap, right on his junk, just wham! And he hit the ground, got up after about 10 seconds, ran over to the trash can, was leaning over the trash can trying to keep from throwing up. And everyone's just like, man, that dude's training hard. It's like, no, dude. He's not training hard. He just clapped himself real hard is what he did. So be mindful of the dangers of doing certain kind of lifts like this, because you can get tired and posture up and boop, you're done. You are done. And I don't care about what the form looks like. If this type of side lateral is better than this side lateral, or this range of motion is better than this range of motion, or oh, well, you shouldn't use any body English. Why? I have a whole body, so why would I only use one part of it, right? If I can swing my body in my hips and pop my back a little bit and use a little bit of body English and get a couple more reps and get a little bit more of a burn and work out a little bit harder versus staying perfectly strict, I'm going to get more results. Because at the end of the day, it's my body, right? Why only use a part of your body when you can use the whole thing? I'm going to run the rack on this one. The difference between running the rack and doing drop sets is you go dumbbell by dumbbell. So if you have bigger jumps of dumbbells by 10s, you can't run as much. But if you have smallers like mine, like 2.5s, you can make a whole lot of drops, which is called running the rack. At least that's what we used to call it. you could say, well, you're not using a full range of motion there. You activate the side lateral deltoid head and the trapezius whenever you go all the way up to the top when you're parallel to the floor. I don't care. That burns in my traps. It burns in my side delts and my rear delts, my front delts. Everything's burning where it should be. I guarantee you I'm recruiting a ton of muscle by doing it this way. Because ultimately I'm just trying to get as much blood in there as I possibly can. I just want to force as much blood in there for as long as I possibly can. Get the veins popping, get the skin turning red, and the lactic acid buildup. Lighter weights, bigger range of motion, get the heavy stuff out the way. Okay, so that's running the rack, and there's also another technique. It's not superset. It's called a giant set. If y'all never tried those, it's where instead of doing 2 exercises back to back, like a dumbbell press and then like a dumbbell fly back to back, that's a superset. A giant set's when you do 4 movements back to back. So you'll do like a dumbbell press, incline dumbbell press, high cable crossover, low cable crossover. As hard as you could possibly go. Then you rest 2 minutes and then you do it again. So people call it circuit training, but back in the day we call those giant sets. And if you're trying to get a lot of blood in the area, very hard, and this is like a finishing movement. You don't do this at the beginning of the workout, in the middle of the workout. You do this at the very end, just to flood as much blood into that area as you possibly can. We didn't do it every time. We do that maybe like once every 4th or 5th workout, but man, they'll beat the snot out of you. Oh, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I've been doing the dumbbell front laterals for a while, and I decided, you know what? I wanna do some cables because it's a different kind of tension. It just feels different than gravity fed, like dumbbells, where you get to a certain leverage, like here's easy, then here's difficult, then here it's easy. This is kind of like a constant tension downward because of the cable system. But there are easier points on this than harder, but vice versa. I'm just going to do this just because I want to change it up a little bit. And if you stand back here, it's going to feel way different because it's pulling you forward versus you stand over the pulley. Just depends on what you want. But don't worry, I'm still going to use my body on this because I'm going to cheat this up because I don't care. It's all about the reps. I like quantity over quality. No, I just like to make it hard. Are you laughing over there? It's like, I mean, you can have like one really good fork that you have to like wash every time you use it. Or you can have a whole box of like trashy plastic forks that you can just throw away and not have to keep reusing, right? So sometimes quantity is better over quality. Like you could bring porcelain plates to a picnic, or you could bring a bunch of paper plates and bring like 250. So sometimes quantity over quality. The only downside with this is this doesn't rotate, man. It's just pivoting in my hand. It causes a raw spot on your thumb. Yep, there's the veins. There it is. Is it picking them up? Quantity. quantity. Quality, I mean. Yeah, buddy. I hope the camera's picking that up, though. All right, that's it. One more. Wait, one more. Time to hit that rear deltoid. So what I like doing on rear delts, man, is I like finding something to put my legs against. Like, this is perfect because it curves, so I can lean back on it and then bend over. But I don't have to stabilize. Like, just bending over like this it's not like it's so hard to do, but like if you can stabilize yourself against something like this and lean back on it, it just makes you feel like you're more like rooted and more stable, so you can really just focus on those bent overs. Another thing you could do, if you have a high enough bench, you can lay on the bench like face down if it's high enough, and you could do it that way. Or you can sit on the bench and you can like lean forward as far as you can and like sit down on it and try to do it like that, or kind of pull back on it if the bench doesn't move, that is. But I got this cool little curve right here, and I found out about this years ago by accident. I just kind of leaned up against it, just kind of like, because there's a lot of stuff going on and people in here, so this is the only place I could do it. And I was just like, huh, wait a minute, check this out. I like doing bent over laterals. I also hate doing bent over laterals. I feel it absolutely amazing in my rear delts when I do these. Better than I feel it in any other movement I do. No matter what I do, these feel the absolute hardest in my rear delts. But I hate it because how uncomfortable they are bending over doing this. That's some ugly form right there, man. Okay, I'm gonna drop this down to, let's go 12s. Going from the 20s to the 12s. Just trying to get as much blood in there as I possibly can. Just really want to get that blood in there. So there's a drop. And now I'm gonna come over here to the faithful pec decker. I'm gonna do some reverse pec decks on this as a superset. Let's try to really annihilate that rear delt. I like doing the pec deck, man, but like the freedom of motion is king when it comes to dumbbells. This is on a track, so it's like, it's good, but it's like also like it has its downfalls because it's on a track. You can't like really move your shoulders or elbows in a way that will make you feel a lot more in the delt. Now don't get me wrong, I could grab it down here low and this changes the way it feels versus grabbing it here in the middle, which changes the way it feels, versus grabbing it up here, which again changes the way it feels. There's like more trap right there. I could grab it with a side hand like this. It changes it. Do like Ronnie Coleman and grab it with a reverse grip like this. It just depends on where you want to get it, but and then downside is whenever I offload one side, it causes a wedge on this thing, which makes it feel sticky and gritty because it's just a square tube inside of a square tube. So as long as it's evenly loaded, it'll real smooth, but can't do that on a drop set with that, which I wasn't trying to do a drop set. I just decided I wanted to keep going at the last moment there, so I did a drop, but now it's all pumped up. There it is. Is that picking that up on camera? How pumped up that rear delta is? Now it's pumped. Let's go this side. Yeah, now we got to pump. Yep, we're pumped up now. There it is. Ooh, that's a rear delt right there, boys. Now, we're gonna do some traps. See, doing the overheads all the way, that hits the traps, all right? Doing the bent overs, that also hits the traps. Right? Quick pumps. But we're gonna do some direct trap warps. Actually, it's kind of like indirect, direct. I like doing upright rows. I used to do them with a barbell, and I changed hand placements. But now I got like a bulging disc or a pinched vertebrae, or I got something jacked up in my neck. So now I just do it with dumbbells, and I do a partial range of motion, because that feels really good, and it still burns my traps up real bad. So I like doing that and some dumbbell strokes. I don't do nothing crazy on my traps anymore because of the neck issue. So I just literally do straight sets, nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just straight partial range of motion. I do what I can where it doesn't hurt. Now, before anyone says, well, the reason why you got something wrong in your neck is because of upright rows causes impingement and it damages the neck. Listen, for a living, I legitimately pick up these things that are called chain falls and come-alongs. They can weigh anything between 20 pounds to 80, 90 pounds. And I have to bend over, pick them up, and then upright row them like this onto a hook that's over my head. So some days and weeks, for 40 hours a week, I'm picking these up, I'm carrying them over, and then I'm upright rowing them and hooking them. So doing this or this is what I do all day for the last 6 years. And this happened on a deadlift. I was deadlifting, and I was deadlifting double overhand with around 465, and I came down and the weight whipped, bam, whenever it hit the ground, wham. And whenever I rolled my shoulders from the whiplash of the weight is when I felt this for the first time. And then it kind of got a little bit worse and worse every time I did deadlifts. So it got to the point where I was more controlling, and that tap, I could dead stop, and I had to like decelerate before I touched the ground. Or I get to here and I have to let go, let the bar bounce, re-grab, pull, get to here, let go, let the bar bounce. And I had to do that for months. And this never really started feeling better. It just progressively got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. The upright rows have never bothered me on this. It was the deadlifts. And every time I start doing deadlifts off the floor and I get a little bounce or that shoulder movement from the bounce, that whiplash, is when this starts bothering me. Because just a couple months ago, I was deadlifting. When was it, Rich? Was it the beginning of this year or was it the end of last year? Beginning of this year, yeah, we were doing them. And then this started bothering me really, really, really bad again. I stopped doing the deadlifts. It's not bothering me anymore. I mean, there is some type of like little aggravation there, but not like it was when I do deadlifts. So it was never the upright rows. Everybody's different. And that's what got me, was the deadlifts from that whiplash, years and years of deadlifting heavy, wham, wham, not wanting to let go of the bar. And I should have just boop, boop, and let it go every time, or decelerate it, and then, but that takes up so much energy, decelerating to touch the ground, and then pull, and then decelerate, tap the ground, and pull. That takes so much energy. So I got to the point, like I said, I was just dropping it. I should have been doing that from the very beginning. It is what it is. All right, something I got to live with now, and I can live with it. I'll just work around it. I'm not going to work through it. And the funny thing too is about doing this is whenever I don't train my traps, if I don't do shrugs and I don't do upright rows, it actually starts to bother me really bad. But as long as I'm doing upright rows and shrugs at least once a week, it seems like the muscles either tighten up and align or pull on it evenly. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but if I skip a week of shrugs and upright rows, it really starts affecting me. But as long as I continuously train them every week, it doesn't bother me as bad as it does whenever it's like, you know, and it's, oh, you go to the doctor and get an x-ray and blah, blah, they're going to tell me something I already know. Like, yeah, your neck's messed up. Don't hurt it. Oh, that's good advice. Okay, so that's it for today. I got 30 minutes of cardio I have to do, and then I'm going to drink my shake, and then I'm going to watch some fireworks with the kiddos. So that's going to be it for today. It was a good workout. I had a lot of, actually I had very low energy coming into the gym, but then I hyped myself up because I'm like, you know what? This is the only time I'm going to get to train my shoulders this week. So if you come in here sandbagging, get like, oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like being in here, you're not going to get nothing out of today, then you're going to look worse next week. Well, not worse, but you're not going to improve next week. So if you're going to come in here and only train everything once a week, you better put on the, you know, lay on the accelerator and get to it and really bang it out. We got 21 more days, man. 21 more days. I'm not going to get my six-pack in 21 more days, but I can get a hell of a lot closer. And I don't feel like I did anything wrong, man, because like I've been on my diet 100%, but the thing is, like, I started off doing 20 minutes of cardio in the morning and in the evening, and then I jumped up to 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening, and then I took a break for like a week from the cardio because my hips were really bothering me and they were tight, and now I'm doing 40 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening. So I feel like I've progressed the way I needed to progress, because I've been on average losing 2 pounds a week every single week, which is phenomenal. Last week I lost like 1.5 pounds-ish, a little less, a little more, but right at 1.5 pounds, but that's also because I wasn't doing cardio. But now I'm picking the cardio back up. My weight loss should be on par back to where it was. The problem isn't the diet or the training, and changing my routine up, changing my routine up, changing my routine up, changing my routine up wasn't the issue. The biggest issue was I didn't have enough time. 3 weeks, I think if I had about 5-6 more weeks, about 2-3 more weeks more than I have right now, I think I would have my abs. If not fully out, I think that they would definitely be right there about to come through for sure. I just needed more time. If I would have started this, let's say in the beginning of April, because I started May 8th. So if I would have started this on April 8th or April 1st, I think we would be going into the end of this, into the end of this. That doesn't make sense. I think that we would be finishing this up with me hitting my goal exactly what I wanted. But it is what it is, guys. I'm not discouraged because this isn't the end, right? Just because we hit the end of the suffering doesn't mean there's a whole nother series coming after this one. And hopefully it's going to be equally as intense, if not more. Ending the video here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.